The CEO of ChatGPT creator OpenAI testifies before Congress, calling on increased regulation of the AI industry, saying that when the technology, quote, goes wrong, it can go quite wrong. Attorney General Merrick Garland calls off the IRS investigation of Hunter Biden after an IRS whistleblower testified to Congress about political pressure from the Justice Department. And the LA Dodgers rescind a Community Hero Award that they were going to give a Catholic mocking drag queen group called the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence after major backlash. This is the noteworthy news that you need to know for today, Thursday, May 18th, 2023. But first, just a reminder to hit the subscribe button down below and also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Julie R. Hartman. First, the CEO of ChatGPT's creator, OpenAI, Sam Altman, has testified before Congress, calling on Congress to create licensing and safety standards for advanced artificial intelligence systems. For those who don't understand AI, don't worry. Honestly, I didn't understand it until a few weeks ago. AI is a branch of computer science that builds smart machines capable of performing tasks that typically only human beings could do. So what they do, or what this, I'm calling it they like it's a human being, what AI machines or AI generators do is that they scan thousands, hundreds of thousands of documents on the internet, pull human responses, and then generate human-sounding responses to certain prompts. So if you type into ChatGPT, write a eulogy for my friend Dan, they will scan 10,000 eulogies on the internet and pull one together for your friend Dan. If you write an essay on Mao Zedong, they'll do the same thing. So this sounds great, especially if you're a college student looking to plagiarize, right? Well, no. And even, it's really amazing that even the CEO of the creator of this technology is saying that this can pose a grave threat to our way of life and to our norms. ChatGPT skyrocketed to having 100 million users in just the 2 months that it has been open and out to the public. Sam Altman said to Congress, quote, "We understand that people are anxious about how AI can change the way that we live. We are too. If this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong." He then called for, quote, "a new agency that licenses any effort above a certain scale of capabilities and could take that license away and ensure compliance with safety standards." So what are some of the things that this CEO, Sam Altman, is worried that AI could do? Well, he said it could potentially affect elections. It could lead to intellectual property theft. It could change the way that the news covers stories. He even said it could change military operations, as well as, quote, "automate away some jobs." I mentioned as a joke, even though it's really not a good joke, how some people who are looking to plagiarize on tests must love ChatGPT, but it's true. This will make it much harder for teachers to be able to enforce anti-plagiarism standards. That's intellectual property theft on a small scale. But on a large scale, ChatGPT can lead to the kinds of intellectual property theft that we have seen China, our adversary, engage in. Congress has estimated that every single year, we, the United States, lose $2 billion in potential revenue because the Chinese Communist Party steals our intellectual property. When ChatGPT is scanning thousands upon thousands of articles and other resources put online, there is huge potential for this intellectual property theft without giving the right credit, both just name credit and monetary credit, to the person who is behind the articles that ChatGPT is pulling. Certainly, this idea of affecting elections is a very legitimate worry. I don't know if this has changed, but as of a few weeks ago, if you typed onto ChatGPT, "please write an endorsement paragraph for President Joe Biden," they would do it. But if you wrote, "please write an endorsement paragraph for former President Donald Trump," they would give you this standard answer that said, we don't want to get too political. Here at ChatGPT, we don't believe in taking political sides. So already ChatGPT is becoming politicized, and perhaps that will grow. Again, according to even the CEO, he's worried that it may grow. Last month, Elon Musk, who is the CEO and founder of Tesla and SpaceX and the owner of Twitter, along with 50,000 other people and 1,800 CEOs, signed a letter created by the Future of Life nonprofit that seeks to mitigate large-scale technology risks. He signed a letter also calling for regulation of AI technology. This letter said, quote, AI systems with human competitive intelligence can pose profound risks to society and to humanity. Recent months have seen AI labs locked in an all-out control race to develop and deploy ever more powerful digital minds that no one, this is the sinister part, not even their creators, can understand, predict, or reliably control. It is a really sinister thing, what they just said here, that even the creators, the people in charge of this technology, may have unleashed something that they cannot rein in. I'll give you a final example of the potential problems of this AI technology. Have any of you heard of the term deepfake technology? I've reported it on this show, Julie noted before. Deepfake technology is AI technology in which a fake person that looks totally real can be created on the screen with a human-sounding real voice, and it is often created by our adversaries. China has planted deepfake AI technology on social media in order to subvert political narratives in the United States. Russia has also done this. What they do is they make these fake humans online say things that are supportive of the CCP or of Putin and his oligarchy, but these people are totally fake. So if this goes unregulated, if we do not put some restrictions and controls on this AI, it will go so far out of control that you won't be able to know if something is real or fake. They could create an AI simulation of Donald Trump saying the most egregious thing, and it may look exactly like Donald Trump and sound exactly like Donald Trump. So they are right. We have to put some guardrails around this to prevent it from being used and abused, especially by our adversaries and people who seek to undermine the system we have here in the United States. Moving on to another news story. This is the third scandal pertaining to government corruption that has emerged this week. The first one I reported on yesterday is with regard to President Biden and his family. It was uncovered that during President Biden's time as a vice president under the Obama administration, his son Hunter Biden created 20 shell companies, LLCs, that were founded in order to look like legitimate companies but were actually just fronts so that the Biden family could enter into deals and get paid off by foreign nationals, specifically foreign nationals from China and Romania. So that was scandal number one. Scandal number two was this Durham report. John Durham is a special counsel that was appointed by the Trump Attorney General, Bill Barr, to investigate government wrongdoing. And Durham came out with this report which showed that the FBI colluded with the Democrats and with the Clinton campaign in the Russia collusion hoax of 2016. For those whose memory is failing them, the Clinton campaign and the Democrats accused former President Donald Trump of colluding with Russia in order to win the 2016 election. The FBI was supposed to investigate this in an unbiased, impartial way, and what Durham uncovered is that they used, quote, thin evidence to pursue this investigation into Donald Trump. Remember, the FBI obtained warrants to spy on certain members of the Trump campaign, such as Carter Page, and they used unsubstantiated evidence in order to obtain those warrants to spy on the Trump campaign. And it just shows the political persecution that has come into being in the highest echelons of our government. Now we turn to the third scandal, this IRS whistleblower scandal. The background is the IRS, or Internal Revenue Service, was launching an investigation into Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, for tax evasion. Allegedly, Hunter Biden was not paying taxes on millions in foreign-sourced income. By the way, this was another lie that was peddled by the Democrats. President Biden, now President Biden, then candidate Biden, while he was running for president, denied that his son was being investigated for tax fraud. Then in December of 2020, a month after President Biden secured his victory in the election, the Biden campaign admitted that Hunter Biden was being investigated. Anyway, the IRS has been investigating Hunter Biden supposedly for 3 years now. Last week, though, a whistleblower, a worker on this team, actually apparently the head of this team that was investigating Hunter Biden at the IRS, testified anonymously to members of Congress that he and his team were experiencing political pressure to make the Hunter Biden investigation go away. He said essentially that the Department of Justice was pressuring these IRS agents to not move forward aggressively with the investigation. Once that whistleblower anonymously testified to Congress about this political pressure, all of a sudden, the Department of Justice, led by Attorney General Merrick Garland, suspended the IRS's investigation of Hunter Biden. Now, you may think, well, the IRS is under the jurisdiction of the Treasury. How does the Department of Justice have the right to suspend this investigation? The answer is that although the IRS is under the Treasury Department, whatever the IRS agents would have found out about Hunter Biden would be prosecuted by the Department of Justice. So functionally, Merrick Garland, in this case, is the boss of these IRS agents investigating Hunter Biden. The lawyers of the IRS whistleblower released a statement yesterday saying, quote, "Today, the Internal Revenue Service criminal supervisory special agent that we represent was informed that he and his entire investigative team are being removed from the ongoing and sensitive investigation of the high-profile controversial subject about which our client sought to make whistleblower disclosures to Congress." Of course, that high-profile controversial subject is Hunter Biden. They continue, he, i.e. the whistleblower, was informed that the change was at the request of the Department of Justice. What is unnerving about this situation, among other things, many other things, one of them being that this is the third scandal that has come out in the past week. We've basically had a Pentagon Papers, a Watergate, and a Teapot Dome scandal in the same week. What's unnerving about this situation, though, is that the Department of Justice has not provided a reason as to why they are suspending this IRS investigation. They didn't say that the investigation has gathered sufficient evidence. They didn't say that it's run its course. They didn't even attempt to provide an explanation. They are just shutting it down. It appears that the Department of Justice, and specifically Attorney General Merrick Garland, wants the American people to know that he has the power to do this. They're not even trying to hide their motives here. They are trying to show the American people, we have power over you. A whistleblower calls us out for putting political pressure. Well, we're going to punish that whistleblower by suspending the investigation in its entirety. What a sign of our times, that even when people do corrupt, shady things, they don't feel a need to even lie about it or justify it. They just do it because they have the power to do so. Moving on to the third story of today, the LA Dodgers have thankfully rescinded an invitation that they were giving to a Catholic mocking drag queen group called the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence after major backlash in the aftermath of this announcement. I actually talked about this show yesterday when I guest hosted for Dennis Prager, and before I could even get home, the LA Dodgers announced that they were pulling the plug on this event. So let's look at what they were going to do. The LA Dodgers announced a week ago that they were partnering with LA Pride to present a Community Hero Award to the Los Angeles chapter of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, a group of drag queens who seek to mock Catholics. This group has a ministry. They have quote-unquote nuns sisters, they call them, who go through the process of becoming a quote-unquote nun, which is clearly nothing like the actual process of becoming a nun. And they have really awful, mocking names for some of the members of their group. They call them, quote, Sister Taint a Virgin, Sister Risque of the Sissy Teen Chapel, and Sister Edith My Flesh. The group's motto is go forth and sin some more. So they were going to be honored at a home game for the LA Dodgers on June 16th, and they were going to be given this award. By the way, on Easter of this year, 2023, the group put on a Jesus and Mary striptease show, which involved one of the quote-unquote sisters performing a withering upside-down strip show on a large wooden cross. This is according to the San Francisco Chronicle. They also had shirtless men compete over who is, quote, the hunkiest Jesus. In 2007, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence also tricked the Archbishop of San Francisco into giving them the Eucharist so that they could defile it. So LA Pride, back when they agreed to do this event, or when they, meaning the Dodgers, agreed to do this event, announced Dodgers co-owners and LGBTQ plus legends Billie Jean and Ileana Kloss will honor multiple activists and organizations throughout the night. So obviously, this sparked major backlash from Catholic individuals as well as Catholic groups. One of those groups, the Catholic League, their president, Bill Donahue, wrote a letter to the Major League Baseball Commissioner, Rob Manfred, calling the group, quote, an obscene Catholic group. Allow me to read an excerpt from Bill Donahue's very powerful letter. He said, quote, in 1947, the Brooklyn Dodgers made history by naming Jackie Robinson to its roster. He was the first black man to play Major League Baseball. Now, Major League Baseball is in the business of promoting bigotry, not fighting it. By rewarding anti-Catholicism, the Dodgers have broken bread with the most despicable elements in American society today. So in the aftermath of this backlash, the Dodgers announced yesterday afternoon that they are going to remove the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence as one of their honorees as part of the LA Pride event on June 16th. But nevertheless, they are still hosting the event. Here is what the Dodgers said. Given the strong feelings of people who have been offended by the Sisters' inclusion in our evening, and in an effort to not distract from the great benefits that we have seen over the years of our Pride Night, we are deciding to remove them from this year's group of honorees. How interesting that their purported reason for getting rid of this award given to the Sisters Perpetual Indulgence is that people, quote, have strong feelings and they are offended by the Sisters' inclusion. Obviously that is true. But wouldn't it have been better if the Dodgers had said, you know what, we made a mistake. This was really wrong for us to give a Community Hero Award to this group that is so obviously, vociferously, egregiously anti-Catholic. We made a mistake and we are rectifying our wrong by removing them. That would have been the honorable, dignified, gracious thing to do. But instead, the Dodgers are putting out this mealy-mouthed letter saying, oh, some people are upset by it, so in an effort to not distract from the other good we do, we're getting rid of them. It's really sad. So get a load of this. This is what the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence said in response to the news that they were no longer going to be honored. Quote, we were looking forward to having this moment at the microphone to say our message, which is, there is room in the world for everyone to be who they are, as free from guilt and shame as possible. This is what Sister Unity, one of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, said. To be denied that opportunity is a bit of a loss. How interesting that she's saying that there is room in the world for everyone to be who they are, free from guilt and shame, but apparently not Catholics, because the entire basis of their group is to mock Catholics for being who they are. The whole basis of their group is to pummel guilt and shame upon Catholics for their faith. Can you imagine for a moment if the Dodgers were deciding to honor a drag queen group that mocked Muslims or Islam instead of Christians? No. It's only with regard to religious, overwhelmingly white, overwhelmingly conservative people. It's totally fine to make fun of those people, but everyone else can't be made fun of. Otherwise, you're a bigot, racist, sexist, homophobe, transphobe, do-nothing freak show. Since May of 2020, this is according to the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, there have been at least 225 anti-Catholic attacks on Catholic churches, okay? These attacks include arson, statues being beheaded or vandalized, and gravestones defaced with swastikas in anti-Catholic language. There are so many other examples of the mainstreamization, I just coined a word there, of anti-religious animus, specifically anti-Christian animus in American society. Mark Houck is a pro-life father who dared to, a few months ago, pray in front of an abortion clinic. Apparently, he was violating a little-known federal law which says that you can't pray in front of an abortion clinic or trespass on the grounds of those clinics. Does that seem like a grave offense to you? Well, a few weeks later, while Mr. Houck was home with his wife and 7 children, 25 heavily armed FBI agents came to his home to arrest him. Do you really think that his offense of praying in front of an abortion clinic warranted such a large response? As Mark Houck said before Congress just a few days ago as he was testifying, he said that was made to intimidate pro-life religious America. He is exactly right. President Obama, under his presidency, also enacted a policy that arguably discriminates against Christians. He got rid of faith-based adoption centers because those faith-based adoption centers gave preference to married male-female Christian couples for children. President Obama seemed to ignore the fact that every single indicator, whether it's high school graduation rates or prison incarceration rates, indicate that people who grow up in 2-parent households by far do better in every area of life than those who don't grow up in 2-parent households. But nevertheless, because this is a Christian group that supports heterosexual couples, they are the subject of having these faith-based adoption centers be pulled away. How about an internal memo that was leaked by an FBI whistleblower who I actually had on this show, Kyle Seraphin? He leaked this FBI internal memo in which they called Catholics, quote, violent extremists. This is what the FBI thinks of Catholic Americans. I'll give a final example of this religious persecution in the United States. A football coach in Washington State, Joseph Kennedy, was fired after a game for praying on the football field. After that game, he didn't require any of the players to pray, but he prayed after the game. He was fired from his job, but thankfully the Supreme Court ruled in his favor, protecting his First Amendment right to freedom of religion. It's very sad to see what's happened to the Dodgers. It's sad to see what's happened to so many of these groups that have been infiltrated by wokeism, whether it's schools or even now sports teams. It's a real loss. I talk about my high school. I loved my high school when I was there. I had every intention of being an involved alumna, but now it has become so hopelessly woke that I don't feel that I can in good faith support it anymore. And now we are seeing the area of life, sports, that used to bring Americans together, now being the subject of an egregious act of mocking religious people and politicization. We should all, no matter what side we are on, oppose something like this. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, please be sure to hit the subscribe button down below so that you can stay tuned on all the new videos that come out, and I'll see you soon. Take care.